Yo, got a few bets that I like. I do have a six pick, as you guys can see right here. Uh, you can definitely see that. No live stream today, so if you're new to this channel, I do a lot of live streaming. All right, so no live stream today. I got some bets though. I'll show you guys some bets that I pretty much like, and I'll get out of here. Right. The last game, the Baltimore game. I'm so undecided on the bats that I like, man. Those Baltimore bats, they just something else, man. But right now, you see this six pick right here. Something I put together last night. A lot of plays that some of the plays I already have in here. So you can take a look at that. Right here on the other side here is some of the plays that I like. Well thought out things like that. So for the um, Pittsburgh Pirates and the Braves game here, his friends, right? You got Olsen up. We got Olsen up there, but he does have Olsen. Ozuna. He does have a great matchup. Archer, he has a great matchup, and so it was just so hard for me to. It was so hard for me to decide, right? And one thing I did notice that Olsen was hitting lefties this year. So, I think I'm going to take a stab at Olsen today, okay? Ranger Suarez, he's a guy that, I like Ranger Suarez today because for a number of reasons, right? His strikeouts, I couldn't talk off his strikeouts in that 5.5 on the books. And then his pitching outs is the one that I really, really like. So his pitching outs, he hit that numerous times. For some reason, they don't have it out on the books. Um, Showing you guys how I got there, things of that nature. Um, he is a lefty, so we can look at some of the splits and things like that. Going up against the Miami Marlins, uh, as you can see, Miami versus left-hand pitching, they 22% K rate, 65 WRC plus. That's not good at all. Um, Last 30 days, they are numbers two in striking out with a 56 WRC plus. That's not good at all. Um, Last 14 days, and how many plate appearances? Miami, 129 plate appearances, 25.6 K rate with the 68 WRC plus. Um, you know, that's just my reasoning right there. I do base a lot of my pitching outs off of WRC plus and things of that nature. So that's how I got there. Heading back over here to my player pool here. Um, Aaron Judge, Vladdy, right? Both of these guys are self-explanatory. Um, it just is what it is, right? Quick intermission, like if you're on the books and stuff like that, um, across every book, right? It's more than one way to skin a cat. Uh, you can bet hit runs and RBIs on certain books and all that. And speaking of RBIs, you can just figure out, you can figure out the best RBI spots and stuff like that, and just try to get to them, man. Um, this was a really Vladdy was in a great RBI spot yesterday, and he got there. About 99% of the books, right? 99% of the books RBI start off at plus 100. Okay, so as you can see, these are RBIs right here. 99% of the books start off at plus at RBIs. And how do you determine RBIs and stuff like that? You just want to be able to predict game flow, traffic on the bases, teams that you think that's gonna run the score up. Like that 3, 4, and 5 spot, those are good RBI spots, especially when your leadoffs and stuff like that can get on. So you can, one swing of the bat, you can bring them home. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking at. You got Cole on the mound. Cole's throwing that fastball probably to lefties and righties um, over 45% of the time. So with that being said, You got somebody like Vladdy who's crushing that fastball right now and is on a mission. So he's somebody that we need to be looking at. Um, and then Judge is just self-explanatory. So Judge is a guy, even if you don't want to look at him for home runs, he gets walks, he gets on base. You can look at Judge for walks. You could also look at Judge for runs, right? Even at one run at a parlay piece, you could look at that. You know what I'm saying? So it's different ways that you could do things. Two runs, right? Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. You can get two runs for plus 420. You see what I'm saying? You can get two runs. Somebody like Judge who's going to get on base, either he's going to walk, things like that. He can cross that plate a couple times and boom, you got a plus 420. Traffic on the bases. If you think you got traffic on the bases, it's more than one way, man. You guys got to expand. You got to expand it. You know what I'm saying? Got to expand, expand, expand. Um, Next play we're going to talk about is going to be um, I like Jordan Alvarez. Um, he graded out really, really well for me. Um, I did have some mess bats. I know Nemo was up there, but I didn't even put him up there. So I'm gonna stick with the Jordan Alvarez. I need to start condensing my player pool. So I'll stick with the Jordan Alvarez here. Yandy Diaz is an honorable mention because he had been hot lately, and C.J. Abrams is I like him a little bit more. I couldn't talk you off of Thomas either, Lane Thomas. Freddie Peralta, I took his over 7.5 strikeouts last night. Didn't put a lot on it, but for more reasons, the same reasons, right? He's just in a great spot. Went up against the Chicago Cubs versus right-hand pitching. On the season, Chicago Cubs are sixth in strikeout rate with 25%, 24.5 to be exact. And then last 30 days, Chicago Cubs are number three at 25.2% K rate with a 106 WRC plus. Um, Last 14 days, Chicago Cubs fifth in strikeout, still around 26%, 116 WRC plus versus righties. So they have shown the ability to hit them lately. But it is what it is. We'll see, right? Chicago Cubs last 7 days, 30% K rate, 108 WRC plus. Even if they do try to hit him up, I think it's a possibility that he can at least get his Ks before he get knocked out the game. If you think they can win this game, then you can look at a player performance double or something like that. Head to head versus this team, he's this year he has 11 Ks versus them, and then he had 5 Ks versus them this year. And then last year he had 10 Ks versus them. His last three outings is 2 for 3. We'll see what's going to happen today. All right. Even if you want to get to his outs prop, couldn't talk you off of it. Lately it's been kind of shaky. But I couldn't talk you off of it if you wanted to get there. Keep in mind, on the season, he's only 6 for 16 to that number for his pitching outs. Next play we're going to look at is going to be, um, where were we? Um, Bobby, these guys been frustrating. He's been frustrating, right? So, honorable mention, Jose Ramirez. He's just been on flame, right? Um, I did have some splits for this game. Um, I want. It's important to see who's in the lineups and things like that. Uh, but Bobby Witt did look great, right? So Bobby Witt, I like Bobby Witt hits all the way up to a home run, and like I said, Jose Ramirez has just been on fire, right? He's just on in the lineup for on fire purposes. But if you just want to get to a hit or something for him, I couldn't talk you off of it, man. All these bats are just in there for at least a hit. Um, you can add these guys to your hit parlays and things like that. He has 5 home runs in his last 10 games. That's awesome. He has he has he's hit his total bases in seven of his last 10 games. So he's been on fire, man. So yeah, more power to him, right? So, he's definitely in play. Um, Next play we're going to talk about is going to be Luis Robert, right? So anytime Luis Robert going up against a lefty, I want in, right? I'll take him a hit all the way up to a home run, okay? Gary Crochet, his pitching outs, got his pitching outs at 17 and a half at a parlay piece, right? Had to take it. His strikeouts opened up at 9.5. I'll just fade that, right? Even though I know he can get there, but I'm just gonna fade it. This year he's hit his pitching outs at 10 of his last 17 games, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 10. Um, his strikeouts are in play. As you can see, he can hit 10 Ks, but I probably just not gonna go there, right? That's a lot of Ks. And this team will strike out, right? I'm rooting for him. To tell you the truth, I'm rooting for him. So even if you played the 9.5, I couldn't talk over it because he's the type of guy that comes out there and give you 5 Ks in 2 innings. So it is what it is, right? Um, Ellie De La Cruz. I do like Ellie De La Cruz here. You could take him for a hit all the way up to a home run. He's another guy who's been on fire. You can also look at this fantasy score for the stolen base upside. Okay. Eloy, whoever, Ramos, um, his hits all the way up to a home run, along with Jorge Soler, right? And uh, Cattell Marte and Jock Peterson. I do like those guys going up against the Athletics. And then, you know, like I said, I was looking over the Baltimore game, so I could just kind of like give you guys a little insight of how I was looking at things and how I do look at things, right? So, um, let's get this Baltimore game up here. I already had Andrew Heaney up there. So, looking at Andrew Heaney, right? So, Andrew Heaney versus righties. He's throwing that four seamer fastball 50% of the time. Gang, I'm gonna need y'all help on this one here, right? So, how long has this video been going? All right, so got a few minutes. So Heaney, he's throwing that fastball uh, 50% of the time, followed by the slider, and then 26% of the time, and then a changeup 18% of the time. That's towards righties, right? So we'll take a look at let's take a look at Jordan Westburg, okay? So Jordan Westburg versus lefties. Um, because I really didn't even look at it. So a quick live look at it, real quick. So Jordan Westbrook versus lefties. Um, Westberg versus lefties. He might not end up in the lineup. We'll see. But versus that fastball, he does have 3 home runs versus. He's only batting 208 and with a 329 expected. So his numbers, his expected numbers are pretty high there. The next pitch was the slider. The slider, he's batting a 125 against that slider. So that's not his best pitch, things of that nature, right? Just not his best, not his best pitch mix here, right? His splits are probably lining up good for him, but just the pick mix didn't probably line up well for him. Next guy we can look at would be, excuse me, guys. Now Santander is definitely in play, right? Santander has, I think, 17 home runs versus right hand pitching alone. So he's a guy that's definitely in play. Okay. Um, let's take a look at Mountcastle. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Mountcastle might be the guy. Um, he's definitely a righty going up against. Mountcastle might be a guy or might be a candidate, right? Um, okay. So first and foremost, Haney, like I said, he's throwing that four seamer and that slider dominant, right? He's got 5 home runs on that four seamer. Haney's giving up 5 home runs on that four seamer. He's giving up 4 home runs on that slider. Okay, so on that fastball for Ryan Mountcastle, he's batting 296 on that, and he doesn't have a home run versus lefties, right? But he is batting 296, and then that's what is it slider? He's batting 364. Not a big sample size, but he's batting 364 with a expected batting average of 431, slugging and at 909, and expected slugging is at 1,000, right? So it's a pretty good chance that he can do some damage today. All right, so I'm gonna add him, right? We're gonna add him. I'm gonna add Mountcastle to the mix there, and then let's see if we can find one more bat. I know we can find one more bat. We'll we'll slide over to the lefties here. Well, we know um, Gunnar Henderson is self-explanatory, so we don't really have to worry about him. So let me see. Let's take a look at Adley Rushman. All right, he's a switch, so he'll be probably hitting on the right side. Okay, so this one here will be interested. Okay, uh, he'll be hitting on the right side. So he's a switch, right? So let's see how he fares and what's going to happen here, right? So Adley Rushman, interested. I didn't even look, right? So now when I get off screen, I'm gonna have to look at the rest of these bats, right? Because you're looking at Adley Rushman with a batting average of 552 versus lefties. Not a super big uh, sample size, but 552 with 4 home runs versus that four seamer. Like expected batting average at 444. His slugging is at 1,000 with expected at 846, bro. Like, that's insane right there, right? The next pitch was the slider, and he doesn't have a home run versus the slider. He's got a 357 batting average. Expected batting average is at 200. At the end of the day, slugging is at 500. Expected slugging at 259. He could be hot, whatever the case may be. But like I say, at the end of the day, um, that he looks phenomenal, right? So now I ain't gonna go through the rest of the bats, but I'm just letting you guys know. Um, at the end of the day, he looks like he could be in some trouble. All right. Now, granted, I didn't look at the rest of the bats here. I didn't look at the Texas bats or anything of that nature. This will be the Sunday night game. I might come back and go live for the Sunday night game, so keep an eye out for that. But long story short, have a good day, right? Take what you like, leave what you don't, man. At the end of the day, peace, man. Peace out.